Although ham hocks are commonly used in collard greens and beans in the southern United States, thinking about Argentine food gave me some other ideas. By combining Argentine cooking techniques and southern ingredients, I created a braised ham hock recipe that's absolutely delicious. You haven't seen anything like it before, so if you're curious, keep watching. Here I have some raw, unsmoked ham hocks. Usually they're smoked or cured in some way, but these are totally raw. And when I saw them, I said, hey, those look like beef shank. So then I had the idea of some sort of fusion recipe. Instead of boiling these in collard greens or mustard greens or something like that, I am going to bring together southern food and Argentine food and use ham hocks like I would beef shank. So I'm going to braise this. I've made this recipe before and it was good, but last time I took the skin off of all the pieces. This time I think I'll leave the skin on 2 of them and take the skin off of the other 2 just to see what it's like. It is a little bit easier said than done, taking off the skin, because once you get the skin off there isn't quite as much meat as you would think. The skin is on fairly tightly, so actually, if I remember correctly last time, took the knife, went around the edge like that. Some of it did fall apart on me last time, but oh well. If you want to use some kitchen twine to tie everything together, I think you could. Like I said in the beginning, there's not a ton of meat on these. And actually that's part of the reason why I don't like to use the ham hock for collard greens. I feel like compared to turkey wings it's more fat and not as much meat, but it's an interesting fusion recipe. So now it's time to cook the ham hocks. Here I have 1 tablespoon of oil heating over medium-high heat for about 1 minute. Here I have the ham hocks themselves. I prepped them 2 to 3 weeks ago. Usually it would only take about 3 to 5 minutes to brown each side, but since these ham hocks started out frozen, it took a bit longer. So it's actually been about 6 or 7 minutes. I let it go a little bit longer because it was not all the way down into the pan earlier. Just gonna flip it. I'm using a flexible spatula to get up under there. Normally this should not be this difficult. So that actually took about 20 minutes, a lot longer than I thought that it was going to take. And I think it took so much longer because everything was frozen together and stuck together. As you can see, everything is broken apart now. I took my wooden spoon, metal spoon, and spatula and broke everything up as I could. And then I've just been flipping them occasionally to brown them. The pieces that have the skin, I didn't really brown it intentionally, but just as it's been turned up and down like that, it has browned a little bit. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove the pieces of ham hock from the pan. And I'm going to add a little over 100 grams of onion, so about 1 between small and medium onion, and 50 grams of carrot that I grated on a cheese grater, so 1 small carrot. And I'm just going to saute this for a few minutes. So now that the carrot and onion has been cooking for about 3 minutes, I'm going to add 200 grams of golden delicious apple that I just cut into slices like that. So 1 large golden delicious apple. This is actually really good, so I'm just going to use this. We'll saute this about 1 to 2 more minutes. So it's been about 1.5 minutes since I added the apple. Now I'm going to deglaze the pan by adding the juice of 1 lemon, or about 1/4 cup of lemon juice, 1 cup of apple juice, along with 1/2 cup of apple cider vinegar. I know it sounds like an odd combination, but it is absolutely delicious. Like I said, you might be surprised by the combination of apple juice and apple cider vinegar, but not only is it culturally appropriate, it's also appropriate in terms of flavor. When making Argentine and Italian Ossobuco or braised beef shank, wine is one of the primary ingredients. Wine is both sweet and acidic, so if you want something to replace the wine, you need a sweet and acidic component. That's where the juice and the vinegar come in. Since I don't consider wine to be a very southern ingredient, I thought about what I could use instead. Then it came to me. Apple cider vinegar is in a lot of southern recipes, such as some barbecue sauce recipes. So if I had the sour component, I needed the sweet component. It just made sense to use apple juice. And now for a few spices. I have 1/2 teaspoon of salt along with 1/4 teaspoon each of black pepper, oregano, parsley, garlic powder, and onion powder. And I'm crushing the spices in my hands as I add them just to help to release the oils. 1 large garlic clove. I add it now just to make sure that it doesn't burn and turn bitter. And then the zest from the lemon that was juiced earlier. To finish off the braising liquid, I added 3 cups of water and cooked on medium-high, gas mark 4 out of 6 for 1.5 hours, covered. Although my ham hocks were done 1.5 hours later, the exact cooking time could vary if you add a little bit more water or a little bit more juice, or if the ham hocks are a little bit bigger than mine. Although the meat itself is delicious, whether or not you make ham hocks or beef shanks, the braising liquid and the reduced onions, carrots, and apples is probably the best part of this recipe. However, knowing when the braising liquid is ready can be a bit tricky. It's done when you can pass a spoon or spatula through the braising liquid, and the liquid itself takes about 1 to 2, maybe 3 seconds to cover the pan again. I'll show you a close-up from the braised beef shank recipe. However, if you feel like you're past that point, don't worry. Even though the liquid might seem a bit bitter, just add some more apple juice. It'll be fine. Now you're off the tripod. So when I can do that, and you can see some of the bottom of the pot is exposed for a second or two, that's when you know it's time to turn off the heat. And actually this side is good. This side might be just getting slightly bitter. So you don't want it to get, this is probably as dark as you want it to get. This side's a little bit better. But like I said, if it's too dark, if you taste some bitterness, just add a little bit of apple juice and it will be fine. So now I'm going to turn off the heat and let this sit for about 10 minutes. After I turn off the heat, I let the braised ham shocks rest for about 10 minutes before serving. Although I have to admit that I prefer using this recipe to make braised beef shanks, the braised ham hocks were still absolutely delicious. Pork and apple is a common flavor combination, so it just makes sense that braising ham hocks with apples, apple juice, and apple cider vinegar would be great. I've never seen a recipe like this before, so I feel very proud to have basically invented my own Argentine Southern fusion recipe. By combining Argentine cooking methods with Southern ingredients, the result was incredible. Although I use raw, unsmoked ham hocks for this recipe, I think that you could definitely use smoked if you wanted. Just make sure to cut them like these are cut. Although I left the skin on some of these ham hocks, I really didn't notice much of a difference in flavor. So whether you leave the skin on or take it off to save a few calories, I don't think it's going to make a huge difference. Like I said earlier, although the meat is delicious, the braising liquid is, in my opinion, the best part of this recipe, so be sure to serve these braised ham hocks with some sort of starch. In my case, I did rice. A small side of microwave steamed collard greens rounded out this Argentine Southern fusion recipe. I know that I've been making a lot of desserts recently, so I wanted to end my Argentine Southern fusion recipe series by doing something savory. So get ready for more classic Southern recipes on my channel for a while. However, I did want to ask my subscribers something. Even if I do classic Southern recipes, should I still use the tango music in the background, or should I use something more Southern? Let me know what you think. Music aside, this braised ham hock recipe is unique and delicious, so if you're looking for something different, be sure to give it a try. Thanks for watching. If you liked this recipe, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Also, for more information about Southern food and Argentine recipes, please visit my website, parnellthechef.com. And don't forget to follow me on social media. Right now, I'm most active on Twitter and Instagram. Once again, thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye!